Let me start with a situation so common in our industry it's practically become cliche. A lender decides to invest in renovation lending. Leadership understands, at least intellectually, that commitment matters, so they say, let's hire someone who knows renovation loans. And all too often, they're talking to a former loan officer from a large national lender that used to originate thousands of FHA 203K loans every year, and on paper it looks perfect. High volume, name recognition, renovation experience. So they hire them to build and oversee the renovation platform, and that's where things quietly start to go wrong. Here's the core issue. Originating renovation loans is not the same thing as owning renovation lending as a business line. That large national lender I just alluded to, for years they did impressive renovation volume. And then the regulations changed, and disclosure requirements changed, and systems needed to evolve. Instead of investing in the infrastructure required to adapt, the renovation division was eventually shut down, and suddenly many former loan officers from that environment entered the job market presenting themselves as so-called renovation experts. But here's what many of them had never actually done. They had not selected investors or worked directly with the agencies or customized a loan origination system for renovation disclosures or designed compliant workflows post-regulatory change, trained processors, trained underwriters, disclosure desks, shippers, or own draw administration or any QC audits or overlay. They had experience inside a renovation platform, but they didn't have experience building or running one. And that distinction matters enormously. It's still happening. Before you think this is a relic of the past, it's not. I still see lenders hiring the wrong people to oversee renovation lending. Let me give you a few real-world examples. Anonymous, but very real. I once met with a former colleague who had deep experience in renovation loan fulfillment. She's very smart, very capable, strong construction background, and she was approached by a lender who wanted her to originate her own loans, her own renovation loans, and then simultaneously help them build a renovation platform. And she felt qualified, in part because she felt like she knew more about renovation loan fulfillment than many of the loan officers she had been supporting, and she probably wasn't wrong. But no one stopped to ask her the hard questions. How are you going to build your own pipeline? Mind you, with no previous loan origination experience, no sales experience, and simultaneously build a renovation platform. Are you going to be compensated to design this infrastructure since you know it's going to take some time to build your own pipeline and begin earning commission? Are you going to make money while you're doing this other thing for this company? Have you ever selected investors? Have you ever customized a loan origination system? Have you ever delivered renovation loans? The organization she worked for in the past, they were large aggregators. Have you ever trained operational teams across all departments? Unfortunately for her, the answer to all these questions was no. This isn't malice. And I'm not trying to be overly critical. She was naively fueled by confidence because she had all of this fulfillment experience and because she felt like the loan officers that she supported didn't take the time or effort to learn the things that she had learned. She didn't take that job. She took another, and it ended exactly how you'd expect. Frustration, burned bridges, and another lender quietly getting disappointed, dare I say even burned, unfortunately. I've also seen lenders hire individuals who came from respectable organizations, stepped into leadership roles, and immediately took credit for renovation work they didn't actually do. I sat in a conference room watching someone brag about their renovation platform, all the while staring at job aids, training materials, product pages that I personally created and provided. They talked confidently, they spoke loudly, they positioned themselves as the expert, but when it came time to actually lead, they didn't last very long. And more recently, I've had a conversation with a loan officer who was claiming to have built renovation lending departments while openly admitting they originated loans for another lender. So here they are originating loans for one lender and outsourcing their skills to other lenders building renovation platforms. And during this conversation, this person told me they hadn't run automated underwriting in decades. Let that sink in. If you don't run AUS, how do you know renovation data is entered correctly in the system? How do you troubleshoot findings? How do you disclose properly? How do you guide fulfillment teams? I mean, the answer is clear, you can't. And if you're relying on others falsely positioning their renovation expertise as your own, well, that's not ownership. That's borrowing credibility. All these stories, they share the same underlying problem. inflated confidence, narrow or targeted experience, a lack of humility or understanding about what renovation lending actually requires. And many mortgage professionals, both in sales or operations, they don't know as much as they think they know. I say it as kindly as I can. Even when they are knowledgeable, their experience is often limited to one lender, one investor, one set of overlay, and that's not enough to build a renovation platform. Renovation lending requires breadth of exposure, cross-functional understanding, agency and investor fluency, the ability to think systematically. Without that, the confidence that they have, it's going to become a lender's inherited liability. So pause and think. I always feel like I'm the most successful when I've created a renovation lending platform that can run without me. That's the goal. That's the end goal. So here's your pause and think moment. If the person overseeing your renovation lending department left tomorrow, would your platform still stand? Can it function? Do your teams know what to do? Or does everything live inside that one ego? If your renovation success depends on one personality, then you don't have a platform, you have a risk. In the next episode, we're going to talk about what a real renovation platform actually looks like and why so many lenders confuse platforms with task lists. Because even the right person sitting in that seat running the renovation platform can fail if the structure underneath them doesn't exist. If you've lived this from any seat in the company, I'd love to hear from you. If you've been hired to run a renovation platform without the proper experience, or you've inherited a broken platform, or you've watched leadership trust the wrong expertise, email me at jennifer@therenogal.com or leave me a voicemail message at 844-RENOGAL and follow the prompts. Your story, it might help another lender avoid a very expensive mistake. As we wrap up, let's share the bottom line. Renovation lending, it doesn't fail because the programs are flawed. It fails when experience is confused with ownership and confidence replaces competence. Hiring the wrong person, it doesn't just stall production, it destroys trust. It burns teams out. It sends lenders running away from renovation lending altogether. And that's exactly the opposite of what we want to see happen. Thanks for spending part of your commute or your coffee break with me. This is Renovate Ed for lenders.